for this one. Drinks down, man up, circle round, stand up, pimps up, hands down, beat 'em up, man down. Drinks down, man up, circle round, stand up, pimps up, hands down, beat 'em up, man down. No hands in the air, no need for pumping your fist. No hands in the air, no need for pumping your fist. No hands in the air, no need for pumping your fist. Let the man tear the roof off, jump in the pit. Jump in the pit.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to yet another installment of Ranked Pit Battles live stream, coming at you monthly from my channel. As always, I am your host, Peter, aka LPT Dubuque. I certainly hope you guys have been enjoying yourselves, because boy oh boy, have things been certainly crazy. I already see that we got people in the chat, which makes me extremely happy to see you all. Yes, hello Osira, thank you for joining us. Always love the interest. Yes, thank you for those. It's actually kind of funny. I came up with the intro for that because it was a old-timey meme from way back in the day. Pretty great stuff in my opinion. So, with that all being said, I certainly hope you guys have been enjoying yourselves. It has been quite the month for me, not only for myself in terms of my personal life, but just a lot of stuff going on in the gloving world. I completely spaced the first weekend of the month because I just had a lot of stuff going on that it just completely whoop right out of my head. So terribly sorry about that. But yes, here we are, ready for another round of pit battles, and I'm really excited about this one for you guys because I got, I think, 6 different matches all together. So we get 12 videos. We actually got a good stacked night tonight for pit battles. I think we got at least one finger show, if I recall. So we will have a finger show battle, which will be very interesting to see. Very excited about that. Not only that, we are actually approaching the end of the year, which will tell us who's going to be in the top 8 and who we are going to see in the pit battles competition for the end of the year, also known as King of the Hill comp, as I like to refer to that. Yeah, just insane things, man. I'm completely surprised by that. So we will see how this goes. I'm wondering why this is being whatever. Don't know what's going on with the Pit Battles Facebook group, but it's always putting my video on or my posts on need of approval. I should probably actually hit up one of the admins for that one. And I just realized that the music is not playing. Oh my god, what am I doing? It has been a crazy month. That's all I'm saying. But yes, we have some really interesting stuff going on here. So yeah, let's just get right into things. So first things first, because I know we're probably going to have a bunch of other people who are new to the scene watching this live stream. Maybe if not now, then in the future. That I just want to make sure that I keep everyone in tabs of what Pit Battles is all about and what we do here for this channel to cover it. So first things first, to people who don't know, Pit Battles is pretty much like your entry-level competitive circuit when it comes to the gloving scene. This is where essentially it's kind of like wrestling, if that makes any sense to you, like in terms of entertainment. This is where people call each other out and they do essentially matches against each other, and it's usually between the options of 3 judges, 2 judges, and pop vote or pop vote. Typically we usually see 3 judges, with pop vote as just a litmus test to see how the community felt overall compared to what the judges felt. That's always something I found very interesting to see. So always just keep that in mind. But yes, we got 6 matches. It's going to be great stuff. But before we do that, let me go over the rules real quick. So first things first, let me just bring up, we have some updates to the rules from last season to this season. But to quickly recap on the general rules, you do a call out to somebody who is either on the list or is not on the list for an expedition match, if you want to do that one. Exhibition matches are pretty rare, but they're also really fun to see. I think we actually do have one expedition match on the list, so that should be really interesting to see as well. But yes, you do a call out where you choose the person you're calling out. You set the parameters that you want for the pits, which is usually a time parameter. On average, you'll see about 2 minutes, give or take 30 seconds is kind of the typical one that you'll see. And you have a music genre choice. If that is the choice, you also have the option of lights on or off, meaning either a light show or a finger show. It's more often you're going to see a light show than a finger show, but that is something that you have to keep in mind. And then of course how to solve or how to judge the match, which I already stated previously. So you have those, but here is the updated rules. Since we usually had 32 slots on the leaderboard, we only have 24. So if you're not on the list, you get to call spot 24 to 17. These are the people that you're able to call out. But if you're in that spot, you get to call out 6 spots ahead of yourself. And of course, if you're in 16 to 10, you get to call out 5 spots ahead, 9 to 2, 3 spots ahead. Of course, if the challenger wins, the 2 people switch, and if the challenger loses, it descends 3 spots. Now, if they are not on the list, they just don't get on the list. But if they're on the list and they get knocked off the list, they go to a section called the graveyard, and that is where people will try to get back on the list. The reason why the graveyard exists is because those are people who decided to participate on the list and have fallen off the list at some point. It's very typical to see that happen. So definitely wanted to let everybody know about that. Now, let's take a look at last month's leaderboard so we can actually see what we're going to be dealing with, because we got a lot. All right, so here is at the end of October, starting of November, this is what the list looked like. So we got Zugswain, Starstream, BMO, Boo Boo, Gabagool, Quantum Limit, Gaddy in the top 8, along with Appa, Vio, Blackenstack, Danny Phantom, Stop, Pinky, Tourmaline, Zealsabub, Recursion, Monkey, 30K, IT, Panda, Tie-Dye, Pop, and Fractal from 9 to 24 in respective order. This is what it looks like. And if we were to take this list and be like, all right, here's your top 8, this is a pretty stacked top 8. I'm just saying this right now. You got some amazing talent sitting on this list right here, and I'm really, really excited to see what that's going to entail, because as you can see with all this stuff right here, it's actually going to look really, really crazy. So keep an eye on especially the top 4 right here. These are the most interesting people that have been on the list this season. But, I mean, we got some strong competition going on in this list. So without further ado on that, I covered all of that. I certainly hope you guys are excited to see what we got going on tonight. So we have, let's see, who do we have? We got a lot of people. So we got a Danny Phantom versus Limit match, which is going to be really interesting. I did hear some murmurings about this match being a really, really tight one, but really, really powerful stuff going on here. Then we have a friendly expedition pit between Hot Honey and Steezy Weezy, is what at least that they call them. I don't know what their actual Glover's name are, but that's what we're gonna go with. Then we got Tie-Dye versus Pop, which should be really, really interesting to see. Gabagool versus Clarity, which I'm actually excited to see as well. That is our finger show for the night as well. I just want to give everyone a quick heads up on that. Should be really good to see. Then we got another Danny Phantom match with Vio for the number 10 spot, which should be interesting as well. That probably gives you a good idea of what it means. So we'll see how that goes. And of course, to round off the night, we have a pit battle between Tourmaline versus Flackenstack. So that should be really, really interesting, and I'm really, really excited to see how that's going to turn out. So we're going to start it off with the Danny Phantom versus Limit match. And I'm actually pretty excited because I always enjoy watching Danny's shows. That's how it always goes. And Limit is always going to be an absolute treat to watch. If you have never seen a Limit show, you're in for a nice treat. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this, shall we? Yes. So, starting off with Danny Phantom, please show us what you got. All right. All right. Okay, that was such a pretty nice transition point. All right. Okay. So, yes, I will say this right now. Well, hello everybody. Hello. Good to see everybody. Yes, I totally forgot to double check my audio for the stream itself. I forgot the music was not playing through, so I saw that not happening. I fixed it. Terribly sorry about that. But hey, fix it on the spot. We're okay though. But yes, so that was a very, very interesting show from Danny himself. Now, one of the things I will certainly say is that his text always really clean, very, very nice, clean presentation, as it always is. Very controlled. He doesn't float, as was commonly termed from Puppet himself. He always says that thing, if it's floating, which is this, where it's not being as rigid, if you're moving around as you're trying to do stuff type deal, it doesn't look as clean. So you actually want to get those isolations to sit properly. All right. So that's one of the things that he's always trying to point out. So Danny's tech and grid work is always very clean and very strong. So if you haven't seen his shows, that is something that you always find out with him. While I didn't feel like there was a whole lot of musicality going on here, which is not necessarily a death nail, it is to some people, but not necessarily to me. I will definitely say his follow-throughs and his transition points were really, really strong. I do feel like he did change out what he was doing when the song changed its part, with whatever portion of the song was doing, he moved with it. So there was a level of musicality, but not to the degree I have seen him do before. Yeah, no, I was sitting here and I looked over and I just happened to see that it showed that it was not showing audio. I'm like, I messed up. Okay. At least I caught it. So we're good. You guys will not have that issue. But yes, now This was a good show, but I can already feel like this is not going to be good enough to go up against the limit. But I don't want to pull the horse before the cart, or the cart before the horse, whichever way it's supposed to be said. I don't want to put all my eggs in the pudding on this one just yet. But I feel like I don't know. To me, the way I could put this is I don't feel like Danny really gave it his all for this one. I'm not saying that he underestimates his opponent, but it is something that I did take note of, and I was just curious of why that may be. Who knows? But yes, I guess we're just gonna have to find out and see how well Limit's show stacks up to that. So, without further ado, Limit, please show us what you got. All right. Excellent conjuring technique right now. level of ridiculousness with this, my guy. So ridiculous. What the hell? Okay. I am so sorry, Danny. When I heard the rumors that this was like, oh, he completely slaughtered him. Yeah, you were, dude. He limit gunned you down, dude. That's not. I'm not even kidding you. He came at you with so much energy, so much more intensity. That whole thing was just ridiculous, Limit. Holy crap. I absolutely think Limit demonstrated probably one of the cleanest, most consistent, and precise conjuring techniques that you will ever see on the market. Okay, this man knows his timing and his precision so well that's where the musicality is really starting to shine within his show. So this is something I always really want to point out because a lot of people don't know about this, but you can actually have musicality that isn't based off of your movements. Your timing with your mode changes and your clicks is going to be extremely important as well. If you are trying to do impacting or conjuring or phasing or any form of a mode change, your timing and precision on when you do it is absolutely paramount. And here is an excellent example of what clean conjuring techniques look like in musicality formats. Like, this is why his showmanship is always going to be like near 10 out of 10 for me every single time with Limit. Because this man is just fucking ridiculous. Holy crap. It's just so good. So very good. The other thing is, well, is that I know a lot of people can't catch on to it, but I definitely know he's using Adams. This is a tried and true favorite of his, as always. So I definitely always want to let people know about that. But yeah, just ridiculous stuff. Holy crap. Never thought I would see anything so clean before. But yeah, no, there's not even a contest here. I'm sorry, Danny. Like you were slaughtered here in this show. And I know I know that you felt like you put your best foot forward, but your best foot was not enough in this one. But that's okay. That's okay. We always live and we always learn from these experiences. But that was an excellent pit battle to start things off, in my opinion. Woo! But yes, let me double check my notes to make sure that yes, it was indeed Limit who won that one. So congratulations to you, Limit. That was absolutely crazy. Oh man, no contest. Just 10s across the board like that, dude. You just clean sweeped him. Never saw anything like that. Holy crap. Alright. Now, since we got that out of the way, we have our next round being hot fun. Sorry. Got my tongue twisted there a bit. But we have Hot Honey versus Steezy Weezy. Which this is a friendly bit, so this is what we would consider an exhibition match. This is one of the more fun ones that you get to be more relaxed and allows for other people to see kind of the fun of it all. So, we're going to start off with Hot Honey, and then we'll move on over to Steezy Weezy. So, without further ado, please, Hot Honey, show us what you got. Alright, calm, controlled intro. That's always a good sign. Alright. There's so many layers of tracing going on in this show, it's kind of ridiculous right now. Very impressive, honestly. Okay, that was an interesting transition. See what you're trying there. Alright. This is one of those things that I feel like should have been a light show, in all honesty. Okay. I feel like this should have been... I realized my camera's a little too high. Okay, that is way better. Okay, I'm much more centered in the camera. My goodness. Yes, that was an interesting show overall. Extremely strong techniques. The grid work was actually very, very strong here. One of the things I will certainly say is that he kind of has the pendulum sway that morphers are really kind of known to have when they're doing a lot of the stuff where they kind of go from this, and then as they shift around they kind of go like this, which is very common if you actually pay very close attention to a lot of morphers. But yeah, overall though, the digital work in the midpoint isolation tracing hinge combos that we were seeing here, which, if you don't know what I mean by midpoint trace isos, is where you start, here's a point and here's a point, this is your midpoint, where he would actually come here and then like rotate to the hinge and then start to go somewhere else, right? Absolutely strong stuff right there. This really shows you how a lot of these tech-based concepts can really actually break some of the usual conventions that people would think, because if you don't know how to like cut points in half or find points within a trace to another point, you kind of limit yourself type deal, right? So him actually being able to move as the way that he did with a lot of his stuff, allowed for a lot more setup and transitions to other concepts and actually interweave them into kind of more of a cohesive concept overall. So really strong stuff. Interesting choice of music. Not in terms of like lyrics, but this was a very much more calmer, controlled type song that allowed for more of that technical stuff to come out. So it really just depends on what his opponent is going to throw here. That's going to really dictate how the outcome of this show, right? Well, overall, I think this is actually a really, really strong show. Pretty good musicality, though there was a transition point where we were doing a lot of the liquid stuff, and then we kind of like immediately went into more of a King Tut sequence. But it just kind of felt like we were thinking of doing something and then decided to change our mind at the last second to go into something else. Whether you think that was good or not will be up to you. I personally think that might have been like a weak point to his show, but that's just me pointing that out for myself. I felt like that's what came off to me, is that we were in the middle of a thought and then just decided to change our mind halfway through it. So definitely keep that in mind when you kind of see stuff like that, right? But yes, overall, pretty good. Let us go ahead and see what his opponent, Steezy Weezy, brings to the table. So, without further ado, Steezy Weezy, show us what you got. Apparently this is a YouTube short. I'm not sure why, but okay. Okay. Doing a lot of like pop and lock elements. Okay. Interesting flow combos here. So pretty good strong foundations here. I just feel like we're a little rough on our transitions. Kind of like how we introduce and resolve concepts. I think it's just interesting. We get a lot of disconnects with his tracing. Yeah, he had one little good transition there where he went from his clusters to his tech. So. Okay. Okay, so there's some interesting stuff going on here. Alright, so first thing I definitely really want to point out as I'm making adjustments to everything, because that's what I do every single time. there's a lot of interesting stuff going on here. So the first thing I definitely want to point out is we have an understanding of concepts. We have an understanding of the ethos that goes into each of these concepts, right? The issue I'm seeing here is that we're rough around the edges. And what I mean by this is that we're not as clean as he can be. Now, somebody is like myself who has been extremely well trained into spotting this stuff. I can tell that this person knows the concepts. It's just the execution is just not quite there yet. And what I mean by this is that you can see the moments where they're doing stuff, but then they kind of shift off to something else and they kind of like break the mold of what they're doing, and then it kind of feels like a weird jerk into another thing. All right, we're not finishing the concept. That's how I feel like I'm seeing here. We're just like we jump into another concept. We don't really complete the thought of what we're doing in a concept to go into another concept. So this is why I'm saying like the weakest points of this show are the transitions. Now, there was a couple that I did point out that were actually pretty decent. The one that he was doing the cluster stuff and then going into his tutting sequences that was clean. That was an actually clean style of a show. Okay. So, but the thing I also need to point out is like when it came to his tracing stuff, we were kind of like jumping to get to a point instead of following the lines. You know what I mean? We didn't get that kind of stuff. We were more like, hey, let me just get to these points. You know, we're cutting corners, essentially, is what I felt like what was happening here. So, yeah, I did like a lot of the concepts that we saw here. I thought the flail combos and the flail sequences were really, really strong. Now, when we actually transitioned into our flail sequence the first time, that was actually a pretty clean transition. When we tried to go back into it again later, we kind of just jumped into it. We didn't actually like conclude the concept that we were in to transition into the new concept. Now, I know it's really, really difficult to kind of explain that, but it's one of those things where if you felt like it was... The way I always describe it to people is if you felt like their transition felt like somebody tapped the needle on a record player to skip the song and you get that little screech sound to the new song, that's what it felt like. I felt like we just right into it instead of being eased into it. That's pretty much how I look at it. So, what do my notes say about this pit, though? According to this pit, it was done by poll, so it was pretty much popular vote, and apparently they tied. So, in the effort to actually kind of like give a winner, if I would to give a winner, I would definitely say Hot Honey takes it. His concepts and his technique was so much cleaner that you can actually follow through his concepts and actually it all made sense. We didn't jump and jolt it all around, and I didn't feel like we were moving in between concepts willy-nilly that actually had thought put into it when we were bouncing back and forth between concepts, as opposed to Steezy Weezy where we were just kind of jumping around and not really actually transitioning into the new concepts as cleanly as we could. Now, there are a few examples or a few instances where you can kind of like jump into a new concept if you like transition with the song, which I did not see that actually happening here. I felt like we were showing more of our concept kind of not necessarily a tech vomit, but it felt almost to what a tech vomit could be. So I don't know, it's really weird. So one of the things I will certainly say though is that yeah, I just feel like we were cutting corners with Steezy Weezy show and we didn't complete our concept and didn't know how to transition. So if he actually watches this, that's my takeaway for you, is that you just need to kind of clean up your transitions and actually like follow through with doing the concepts. If you're going to do a trace, like do the trace. You know what I mean? You gotta like show that line movement. You know, where you have a joint point to hit and then move forward or move back and stuff. Like don't hesitate to like do a little pause. Like, you know, you can, because then you're gonna start getting stuff like this, and that's just not gonna look good. All right, you gotta avoid stuff like that. The other thing as well is that since we weren't really working well on our grid lines and our grid formations, we didn't get a lot of that clean movement that happens on said grid. You know, we were getting a lot of this stuff, so it was just like not really working for me. But I like what you are throwing. Just clean it up a bit. So keep doing what you're doing. You just need to clean it up, refine the techniques, refine the movements, and really start exploring how you can transition from one concept into another. You know, that's something that will always come with time. That's something I always kind of espouse as a seasoned glover as myself. So, yeah. If I had to choose somebody, it would be Hot Honey, hands down. So if Hot Honey ever watches this in the future or whatnot, there you go. You took the win for me, in my opinion. But yes. Moving on to our next match, which I believe is match number 3 of our lineup tonight. It is going to be between Tie-Dye versus Pop Pop. Now, I'm actually pretty excited about this because I always like watching Tie-Dye's shows. He's definitely somebody in the community. He works really, really hard on his color combinations and his color theory for his glove sets, along with learning how to really utilize the flash patterns that are provided to his advantage. So it's always going to be really exciting to see what he has to throw down. So without further ado, we're going to start with Tie-Dye and move on to Pop Pop. So Tie-Dye, please show us what you got.
Even if the bag ain't coach, even if I don't smoke till the hydro roach, I'm still dope. Rock a thrift store coat and a fresh pair of moccasins, comfortable for walking in. No A&R marketing, this is my reality. Still dope, power walk, burning off the calories. Fact and not fallacy, metal face family, imminent fatality, taking us too casually. I got it, it's cool, just part of the school, and I'm acing the lesson this time. So
okay.
Still dope.
Live intensity here.
No ring, no chain, still bringing the pain. Still dope, got no choice but to cope. Listen, take notes, I'm showing you the ropes. Still dope, very high dosage. My approach is lights out, buenas noches. Hold my glasses so I can get Riddick. Send them home, tail tuck, holding they fitteds. Cold as a Guinness, 1 point miss. Yo, chill, watch the table, a fish might flip. Crack joke, spit, hot mad shit. That's what it's made for, cop that quick. Drop that Vic, Butterfingers, oopsie. Sign away your publishing for Jordans and a Lucy. The old 1-2C, solo non-groupie. All over they ass like sweats by Juicy. Cats is puss like Sagwa and Morris. Stay spitting line, there is no core.
Alright.
Deploying the troublesome, sleeping bubblegum. That's a double thumb. Hum if you feel where I'm coming from. Do it to your lips and them, you gotta go for it. I stay moving forward, I baby bear courage. Knick-knack, paddywhack, fuck your critics. This dime on the grind when it comes to the spinach. Conquer the
I like the digits and clusters techniques, but I just feel like it needs to be a little cleaned up. We're moving a little too quickly through it.
She rock shells, manicured nails, rock for every bell with a spliff to inhale. Holding she own cone of homegrown shrubbery. Won't go hungry, the flow too lovely. Leaving grills tinted on the sous vide rented. Classic is vintage and polished is all tinted, raw business. Like how them wifeys get hit it, authentic. The track is so loved, I'm all in it, all quit it. Of course I'm inclined to shine, did it. Line for line with it, climbing infinite. Tú no sabes, yo soy una bien mala madre. Confident aren't we, playing it smartly. Word to Dios, Estrella is lethal. Flow muy frio, roll the dice, Chico. Live crazy, decent, insanely frequent. Strangely sleep with one eye.
Okay.
Not joking, outspoken, provoking and choking. Ego stroking his lane. Word bonded in James. Go along with the flame. Way ahead of
Okay, that was a nice transition from your King Tuts into that.
It'll always remain forever doing my thing. Solo with who I
Okay. That's interesting. Alright. There was a lot going on in this show. That's... Oh, okay, where do I begin? Let me make sure I get things set up here. Okay, so this is a good example of what people kind of refer to as a tech vomit show. All right, we kind of like, we started out with some interesting liquid to really kind of like demonstrate our use of space, which is fine. So it's a good way to start a show, is demonstrating your use of space and like your spatial awareness between yourself and the viewer, or in this case the camera. it just, there was just a lot. We were just kind of like going right into it, and it was just boom, 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 one right after another. Now, I can understand that some people are like, well, the song kind of made him go in that route because he, it's a high tempo song. There was a lot of beats to it. At the same time, he didn't let anything breathe, if that makes any sense. So when it comes to a lot of people, when it comes to concepts, the best way to understand when it comes to how you're supposed to present it is you got to let the shapes and your forms breathe so your viewer can actually take in all the details of these shapes and forms that you are presenting. Okay? But at the same time, it was just a lot that I don't feel like anyone who is as trained as like myself who can actually really digest all of that information very quickly. So I personally felt like we had a good amount of tech vomiting stuff because we were speeding right through it. That's just kind of how I look at it. However, we did get some really cool isolation points. We had some really good grid work when we had stuff going on right here, and he had his arm over here at one point. The clusters, I feel like, could have used a bit more cleanliness to them. I didn't feel like we were able to really have a good presentation of your clusters. Like, for me, I'm able to really understand like what you were going for, but you didn't really like let the spacings really kind of like show and actually like get those movements. We were actually just like, all right, let's just get right through this, right? But we didn't actually like let the forms actually show themselves and put them in place that they need to be. I think Danny took his anger from his loss out. Not sure what you mean by that, but okay. Yeah, I felt like while this was a neat show from Tie-Dye, I just felt like that one was a little bit more of a tech bomb. I felt like if he just kind of like slowed down and went about it in a different way in terms of his speed and presentation, I think it would have been a lot better, in my opinion. Especially when it came to the clusters. Clusters is such a micro movement type concept, that you actually have to make sure that you're very precise, and then you let those movements really breathe. You can't just let me just move back and forth like this really fast. Like it doesn't work. You gotta really let those movements show where you're going with stuff. All right. That's pretty much how I look at it. But yeah, I guess we're gonna just have to see where his opponent goes and see if it's any better or worse than what he throws. So, without further ado, Pop, please show us what you got. Oh my god, you overlaid. You learned to overlay, or you got somebody to overlay for you. Congratulations.
So nasty that it's probably somewhat of a travesty having me. Then he told the people you can call me your majesty. Keep your battery charged. He know it won't stick, yo. And it's not his fault you kick slow. Shoulda let your trick hold your sick glow. Plus nobody couldn't do nothing.
See, a lot more controlled here.
I know that's a bunch of snow. The beat is so butter.
Okay, I see what you're trying to do there, but that was your fingers kind of locked up there.
Sometimes you rhyme quick, sometimes you rhyme slow, or vice versa. Whip up a slice of nice verse pie, hit it on the first try, villain. The worst guy, spot hot tracks like spot a pair of fat asses. Shots of the scotch from out the square shot glasses.
Okay, interesting. Trying to do some 45s.
Show 'em what they know not through flows of hot molasses. Do it like the robot to headspin to boogaloo. Took a few minutes to convince the average boogaboo. It's ugly, like look at you, it's a damn shame. Just remember all caps when you spell the man name.
Okay, clever. I like that we're trying to demonstrate the tumble sounds.
And you know it like a poet, like baby doll. I bet she tried to say she gave me her all. She played ball. All bets off. The villain got the dice rigged. And they say he accosted the man with the sliced wig. Allegedly, the investigation
Great digital work.
is still ongoing. In this pesky nation, he got the best con flowing. The pot doubles. Now they really got troubles. Madman never go like snot bubbles.
Nice creature. Okay, interesting. Now that actually makes me ask a lot more questions. That really actually does make me ask a lot more questions now, because one of the things that stands out to me with this show is the highlight between these two shows. I'll say this right now when it comes to pop-up show versus tie-dye show. Pop-up shows you what patience and control gives you compared to the high velocity that tie-dye was giving you. Okay, tie-dye was just running out of the gate. As you saw with pop-up, we had a much more controlled, we had a much more patient, we allowed the forms to start slow and actually be rather simple, and they got a lot more complicated. I did feel we had a little bit too much jolting here and there when we were doing certain stuff, but that's just my personal opinion. I felt like the presentations to most of the cluster concepts that he was throwing were a lot more cleaner and much more presentable compared to what tie-dye threw. Okay, these are the things I definitely want to point out. Now, there was one cluster that was a little wonky, but I can understand, being able to have to go like this and then like trying to like get your things to line up sometimes. That can hurt. I've seen muscles tighten up really easily on somebody's show like that, so. Though it was odd to see how that played out with the music near the end. I felt like he was pretty much on par with the music. He really let that kind of like set the mood, and he was just kind of going in doing his own thing. And he transitioned pretty well when the song kind of went into certain places, but when it comes to a lot of hip-hop songs, you don't get like a lot of massive transitions with the song a lot of the times. That's the nature of the genre. So I did really like how much more controlled he was here, a lot more cleaner, and not as fast. And that definitely goes to show you how two different people can approach a genre very wildly differently. And this is why I was saying that I felt like tie-dye was just moving a little too fast. When it comes to his high velocity move sets, like the flails and stuff, tie-dye definitely has it really well, and it looks really, really good. But again, when it comes to shapes and forms, you gotta slow it down so it allows that to breathe to your opponent, or to your viewer in this case. Yeah, in my opinion though, if I was judging this pit battle, I would definitely say that Pop took it from me. Just way better presentation, did not feel so rushed, and a little bit more methodical on how to introduce himself, how he started his show, how he went about his show, and how he came to a nice good closure at the end. I felt it was very succinct, though I do think that the ending was a little off. I don't know if that was from whoever was editing this, if he even did the overlay. It just seems a bit off for me. I don't know. Sometimes people kind of get carried away and don't realize that the song's ending, so I mean, I've done that a number of times when I was out at the rave scene doing all that stuff at festivals. Sometimes the music kind of slows down for a bit and you're just like, I'm going to keep going until the music starts again. I don't know what it will be, but I'm going to just keep on going, doing my thing. That's how I go. Yeah, that tends to happen. Yeah, no, that's who I think takes it, in my opinion, would be Pop, but apparently people disagree with me on that. and it was Tie Dye who won that one. So congratulations to Tie Dye. You know, I personally think it was Pop Pop that took it for me, but that just goes to show you the difference of opinion when it comes to the community. The ending, he was matching the flashing of his gloves to the song. You could say that. I just felt like he was kind of just doing his things while the song trailed out, and then he just kind of like then brought it back after the song already ended. So I don't know. That's just one of the things. It's kind of like ending was a little weird, but overall I think the presentation was better. But hey, I'm not the one who judged it. That's one of the good things about me doing my job here. All right, so moving on, we're gonna have actually a really fun one. We got Gabagool versus Clarity, and these are some two heavy hitters in the community right now, especially Gabagool, who's been very much up and coming for a good while and has been on the pit battle scene for a good strong while, and I'm actually pretty impressed that he's up in the top 8 at this point. So let's go ahead and see what they have to offer. We're going to start with Gabagool and then we'll move on to Clarity. So without further ado, everyone, Gabagool, show us what you got.
Hey, give me the jewel. Let me hit that.
Strong intro.
Bitch, I got some clout.
Oh, that was a good transition right there.
Got some clout. Bitch, I got some clout. Bitch, I got some clout. Bitch, I got some. All in my bag, all in my wrist, all in my shit. What? Prank my dog for the vlog. Iced out real hard. You busy trying to get fame. I'm busy counting this money. Calling myself a comedian. But none
Nice little flail wiggle in the middle of the sequence.
Now I rap clout with the boys. Pretend to give money to bums. Now I got money for toys. Puffing on perp for the snap. I rent a Rari and take it right back. Bitches be sleeping with me, but they just be in it for tags. They just want this clout. Bitch, I got some clout. Bitch, I got some clout. Bitch, I got some clout. Bitch, I got some.
All I got is clout. Walk outside, watch them shout. Bitch, pull up to Supreme, drop some green, ballin' out. Bitch, bought a wag, blow a bag. Bulldog cost like 20 grand. Gucci tee, ripped jeans. That shit so my knees can breathe. Wake up in the hills. I live in the hills that I mentioned. I live in the hills. Popping pills, no real skills. All the bitches be like, come to Brazil. Clout got me this shirt. Bitch, you know it ain't a knockoff. I could take a shit on camera, watch this shit pop off. Propose to my bitch. I'm obsessed
Okay.
with engagement. I'll write a fucking diss track about my mom, bitch. I'm shameless. Name my house after the clout. Name my dick after the clout. I'm so poppin', you would think I'd think of something else that fucking rhymes with
Clout. Bitch, I got some 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 clout. Bitch, I got
Okay.
some clout.
Okay. This was interesting. I definitely need to. I need to double check something here while I talk about this, because I didn't. What was up with that post in the middle of the show? Like what? All right, let me see if I gotta find this. All right. So first of all, excellent forms. I really felt like we were doing some really interesting stuff with your king tutting. This is a good example of a showmanship type show that really plays into the idea of what a pit battle video is supposed to look like, right? The music was really well executed, in my opinion. I felt like it was really interesting to see. This is definitely a finger show. Like, this is not like, okay, I would do this because of Elisha. Like, no, they were actually using more of understanding the shapes that they were making with their whole body, rather than just like, all right, look at my hands or look what the lights are doing. So definitely took the medium in which the performance was to its advantages. A lot of King Tutting, so I felt like we kind of stuck more with the persona type of pit battle show, rather than let me show you these really cool, awesome tricks I'm able to pull off. Now, some people have won with a show like that. It really depends on how you go about it. I felt like this was a pretty good one, though. This is a really strong example. Let me see if I can back this up real quick. See if I can actually get a good look at this post so I can show you guys. Okay. So we're going to take a quick look at this post. I just find it interesting that this was in the middle of it. Let's see. Something. No shit posting. We'll see about that. Troll Squad. Shit hard and piss empathy. That's funny. Empathetically, that's funny. And poop. Alright, I just wanted to see what that post was, because it was just like in there really quick, and I just like, wait, what? Yes, interesting stuff. Interesting. I don't know how people would actually go about saying how they would feel about that. I think a lot of people in the community, when it comes to like pit battle shows, luckily this is I don't think this is a ranked pit. I think this is another exhibition match. So I think a lot of people will see the post-production editing like that and be like, nah, I think that might get you disqualified. But that's just what some people would say. Yeah, a lot. I don't know. This is an interesting show overall that he gave us. I'm curious as to what Clarity did in response, because this was some interesting stuff. I will certainly say for what we got here. I guess we'll just have to go and find out. So, without further ado, Clarity, please show us what you got. Oh god, I'm getting flashbacks already. Jeez, her grid work is just insane. Jesus. Oh my god, so ridiculous. Jesus. Alright. Interesting. Okay, first of all, I'm getting the whole flashback deal is just out of this freaking world. Holy crap, I didn't think my brain was gonna hurt that hard with that. Like, Jesus. Alright. Absolutely, probably some of the best grid work you're gonna see in the scene right now. Holy crap, did she pull that off so well. Just Jesus. Okay. How anyone is able to do that like she can is insane. She's extremely precise of how she pulls off a lot of her movements, right? It might have been slightly off, but I think it might have been a little bit of a delay on my end because for some reason it looked a little laggy. It would not surprise me if my internet is being pummeled right now with the snow. Good old Starlink getting covered in the snow, right? Let me actually double check here. Double check my ping because sometimes that happens. Just gotta turn something off real quick. Okay. Overall, though, really strong grid work. Extremely clean movements and isolations. Like, you can literally see where she is on her grid, and you can see how cleanly she's able to move about it. Not only that, she's actually able to show you how to move about with 45s. Now, she has this uncanny ability of like her fingers actually giving out the 45-degree angle better than most people, so she really takes advantage of that. I definitely want to point that out. Okay, let me. No, okay, maybe it's just, I don't know, maybe it's my computer's just not handling all this. My computer can't handle all this fire. Alright, well, at least I answered my question, that's fine. But yes, overall though, really strong. The depth perception of what she's able to do, she has really deep grid work. And her musicality was just off the charts. Now, the question comes down to who won that one. If I had to choose anyone, I would clearly choose Clarity, just because Clarity really showed a very wide palette of her concepts within the concepts that she showed. Now, granted, yes, she did a lot of grid work, but she showed you 45s, she showed you digital placement, she showed you king tutting, finger tutting, she had a lot more whips and flail concepts placed in there as well. She was able to move all around, all over the place. It was really great. Gabagool stuck to one thing the majority of the time and really didn't move out of that. And while you can say that he did a really good job of really giving like the emphasis of what the music was trying to go for, I don't know. I felt like he kind of boxed himself, no pun intended, into one concept. So yeah, I think just like how everyone else said, Clarity wins this one, so congratulations to Clarity for taking that one down. Really excited to see, and I see that Danny Phantom has finally showed up. You missed your first match, dude, but you showed up just in time for your next one, so this should be really interesting to see. Overall, though, no, we didn't see that one. That's not that's going to be next month. She went up against Gabagool, so we haven't seen the 30K versus Clarity one yet. Which that one, stay tuned for that one, everybody. That one's going to be some straight up fire that is going to burn all of our faces. But yes, so moving on, we are going up to the second to last pit of the night, which is Danny Phantom versus Vio. Now, I'm actually really excited about this one because these are two competitors I really like. I really like seeing Danny Phantom shows, and I really like seeing Vio showing up here and there. His shows are always fun to watch, in my opinion. So we're going to see how this all plays out. Now, we're going to start with Danny Phantom once again, and then we'll go on to Vio and see how that plays out. I have no idea what to expect in these shows. I'm pretty excited to see how this is going to play out. But let me just make sure. Okay, yep, no, that's all good. Everything is set in place. All right. So, without further ado, Danny Phantom, show us what you got.
Moonlight howling, silence in the air. Black skies falling, tears turn into red. Am I dying to rise again? Now I'm flying, I've reached the end. Surround myself, leave this hell ground. Ignite myself, now I'm spellbound.
Great transitioning right here. The musicality is much stronger in this video.
Like poison rushing over me. Eyes distorting, waking up my dreams. Oh, am I dying to rise again? Oh, now I'm flying, I've reached the end.
Brilliant transition right there.
Now I'm spellbound. Now I'm spellbound.
Alright. Okay, clearly, this was so much better than their first match video. I mean, don't get me wrong, I know you understood that you were going up against Limit, and that you know what you were to expect from him. But that man just steamrolled over you. But this was 10 times better. This was so much better. The musicality was there, your transitions were there with the song, your technique was super clean. You just got everything going for you. That was exactly the kind of show I expect to see from Danny. Okay, absolutely clean, superb work, in my opinion. All right. His concept transitions were also on par with the music. It's like everything just melded perfectly together. So this is like a quintessential show from Danny. Strong techniques, strong flow, strong musicality, presentation, and showmanship were all there. But yes, absolutely excellent. I don't really think there's a whole lot I can really say about this one. I was feeling it this one all the way through. Love it. Mwah. Chef's kiss, Danny. Excellent show. Now, let's see what Vio brings to the table and see if that compares to what Danny has thrown down. So, let's see. Without further ado, show us what you got, Vio.
Movie stars and black and white pictures. Warm beer and Valium mixtures. Am I in a dream? Crazy as it seems. Am I in a dream? Am I in a dream? I think today is the best day of my life. Gonna rent
All right.
a bicycle and ride around the city from 9 till 5. I think today is the best day of my life. Thought
Damn, his technique has gotten way cleaner since the last time I watched this show. Getting really good at those pass-throughs. Okay. Interesting 45 movements. Alright. Interesting stuff. Okay. So, start things off. When it comes to Vio's show, is that I really, really like seeing that his technique and his cleanliness has really jumped up from the last time I saw him. Which has been a good while. I think the last time I saw him was like... Wasn't October, was it? What's it? I'm gonna double check real quick because I remember it being some crazy stuff. Let's see. Oh, last time I saw him post was in for Pit Battles was in July. That was actually a pretty good one. He went up against Lust on that one, so being able to beat her was pretty crazy. Yeah, no, excellent work. This was really strong. I did feel like we didn't let things kind of breathe for a minute. I felt like there were some parts where we kind of cut corners where it just kind of felt like we went like this instead of going like this. You know what I mean? I felt like we just kind of like swooped in there a little too quickly. It's something that I always want to kind of like stress is that this is why being controlled and patient with your movements with the music also really helps. So this is like comparing this to like Danny's show, you can definitely see where Danny was much more controlled and patient and allowing himself to breathe to get through it. All right. So as much as I like Vio's show, there was just those moments where like he could have slowed down when the song was slowing down, right? There are other ways to go about it and just hitting every beat, which is what I felt like he was doing. He was just trying to keep up with tempo, so he's just like, all right, boom, 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 you know. Which I know a lot of people's musicality is really more based on tempo rather than just the beats that they're hearing. But yeah, other than that, I think if I had to choose between these two shows, I definitely would choose Danny just because Danny's presentation and his musicality was way more on point than what Vio threw. And overall made his presentation looks a lot cleaner in that regard. So, what do my notes say? Notes say that it was Danny Phantom who won that one. So congratulations to Danny Phantom. You actually got into spot number 10 for that one. Yeah, absolutely awesome, my guy. Can't wait to see what else you get to throw. I know you got one more month before we get to the top 8 the top 8 comp, so really hope you get in there. But yes, congratulations, my guy. You got it. Yeah, I don't think there's much more I can say about that one. So let's go ahead and move on to our final match of the night, which is between Tourmaline and Flackenstack. Now, I do remember that they asked me to be a judge on this one, and I do remember judging that one. I'll explain. If you have not watched my judge video, then that's fine. I'll just explain what I thought about it. So, First, we're going to go with tourmaline, and then we'll go to Flackenstack, and I'll deliberate from there. So, without further ado, tourmaline, please show us what you got. Okay, we're using atoms clearly because we're doing the teleporting. Alright. Really good, strong tech into a transition of fifth level combos right here. That was actually kind of wild right there. Alright, so one of the things that I will definitely point out right now is he definitely went with the teleporting configuration of his set, which if you don't know what that is, I'll elaborate here now because it's relatively simple to understand. But when you have accelerometer chips, you're able to set it in a setting where you can have it appear to be turned off when you're not moving. Or when you do move, it will turn it off. You just set a blank in there and boom, there you go. You're all set, right? That's pretty much how it rolls. So there's two different variations of teleporting within the gloving, in the art of gloving. So you have what I call transitionary teleporting, where you actually are seeing it from moving from one point to another, and then you have stationary teleporting where the lights turn on when you stay in place and turn off when you move. Okay, those are your two variations. Those are pretty much the main ones you need to understand. Here, he was doing the transitionary one because as soon as he moves, the lights came on, but as soon as he stayed, the light turned off. All right. Now, this is a risky thing to do, in my opinion, if you are not well versed in how your lights are going to operate in this fashion. Because while you're able to stay still and your lights turn off, and you can actually highlight which figures are moving at which point, too much movement can actually set off all the other lights. So this is where control is much more paramount for people to have mastered if you're going to use any of these particular styles, right? And one of the things that makes it so strong is when you actually have a little bit more darkness, right? There was a little bit too much light for it to really pull off like the illusions that teleporting gives off. But it's in this context, we're using it to highlight certain movements. Now, this was pretty risky in my opinion. Did it pay off 100%? Not exactly. But I do like how there was a lot of concepts that he was utilizing that really did use this to its advantage. How you would feel about that, you can tell me, but that's one of the things I saw as a huge risk that he was taking here. But yeah, I guess the question now comes down to, does Flakenstack show stand up to this one? We're gonna find out right now. So, without further ado, Flakenstack, show us what you got. I think I got this volume all that. All right, really good, strong digits right there. Jesus. So ridiculous. Alright, so. Oh man, okay. That was actually a really, really good show from Flakenstack. Oh, sorry, my brain just completely turned off of what his name was. I feel bad. But yes, absolutely excellent show from him. One of the things I definitely want to point out is that I definitely felt like when it came to this show, it was definitely a flow-based show. Like, we were just constant flow, 100% all the way through, from beginning to end. Absolutely excellent flow. But I didn't feel like we were seeing anything really new from him. And I really didn't feel like this was a strong pit battle video from him. I just felt like this was like, I'm just doing my own flow and doing my own thing, and that is it. And whether you like his show or not, that is up to you. I personally like his shows all the time. They're always fun and entertaining to watch. But in terms of a pit battle video, this wasn't really it for me. Because I didn't feel like we were really I don't want to say paying attention to our opponent, but I don't feel like we really had anyone trying to actually, or Flakenstack was actually like trying to present a pit battle video. You know what I mean? He wasn't actually like there for a pit battle. It's just like, I'm just gonna flow here on my own and just do my own thing, and that's it. So outside of a pit battle video, this is a really good video from Genghis Rat, or from Flykenstack, sorry. I always tend to get those two mixed up for some reason. I don't know why. But in terms of a pit battle video, yeah, this lacked that strength that you kind of need. But I do think in terms of flow, if we were doing a flow battle, yeah, Flykenstack would have taken this 100%. But I felt like with the risks that Tourmaline took, and actually a lot of it actually did pay off in my opinion, I felt like his show won from my point of view. And apparently I wasn't the only one, because Tourmaline was the one who won that one, which was really, really exciting to see. So congratulations to Tourmaline for making spot number 11. Hopefully we might get another Flykenstack show soon here enough. It'll be really interesting to see. Now, with all of our matches done, let's move back on over to the list and see what the updated list looks like, because you'll be surprised at how it looks. So here is last month's pit battles list, and then I'll show you what the current one looks like. As you can see, 2 people are missing. I don't know what happened. So I'm hoping that we actually are going to try to fill in those 2 spots, because 24 spots is a nice good round number when it comes to these things. So yeah, this is our current list. I don't think we see a whole lot of change per se. I mean, Vio drops down to 15. See, Danny moves up to 10. Tourmaline's at 11. Flykenstack's at 12. Oh no, that's Zeal's above. Sorry. Pinky, then Flykenstack, then Vio. Let's see. I see that oh no, Tie. So Pop and who else disappears? Oh, Stop. So Stop, who was originally at 13, disappears, and so does Pop. Where'd they go? Apparently they gone into the graveyard. I don't know why, but that is pretty much how it is. But yeah, this is what our current list looks like. So we are currently in December. So this is the last month for people to try to get into that top 8 for the top 8 comp that we get at the end of the year. The King of the Hill comp, as I like to call it. Looking at who is currently in the top 8, this is a very stacked list. I mean, you got Zug Swain, who's been pretty much at the top since pretty much the start of the season. Like, holy crap, he made it up there pretty quickly. We got Starstream at number 2, Bebo, Boo Boo, Gabba Gold, Quantum, and Limit, which was not much different from last month. So, yeah, this is a very interesting list that we have going on right here. There we go. This list right here, very interesting stuff going on right here. If I know how the pairings traditionally go, it would be 1, 8, 2, 7, 3, 6, 5, 4, and 5. So you got Zug Swain versus Gaddy, you got Starstream versus Limit, you got Bemo versus Quantum, and you got Gabgul versus Boo Boo. Those would be some interesting matches right off the bat for our top 8 right now. I'm not even kidding you. I do feel like I can probably predict who would win in some of these matches. Like, I definitely know Bebo would win. It'll be a really hard contest to try to tell me otherwise. But yeah, that's one of them. I don't know, Starstream versus Limit would be a difficult one. Zug Swain versus Gaddy? I don't know, man. Zug Swain can pull a lot out of his pocket, and it would surprise everybody. I'm just saying. But yeah, no, that is our list currently. So that should be really interesting to see what turns out from that. But yeah, that is all of our pit battles. That is what the current list looks like right now. I certainly hope you guys enjoyed what I had to show you in this one and what I had to deliberate on, because it was some interesting stuff. One thing I definitely want to let everybody know as a reminder, since we are approaching the new year, I have a video coming out. It is done. It is finished. It is ready to be published. Okay, this video took me forever to put together. I can't believe I finally actually completed it by the end of this year. I'm super excited. It is a feature-length film. I'm not even kidding. It is like, after all the runtime is sitting at like 1 hour and 53 minutes. This is a huge undertaking that I have ever had to put into a video. Holy crap. I don't know what else to say, but Jesus. Oh my god. So yeah. If you guys are excited, I have my big time video coming out. Coming January. Don't miss out on that. Secondly, I know I'm going to try to get Gloving Table Talks up and running again, and I think I'm going to try to get it started this year if things go according to plan in terms of my move into my new apartment once it's finished being built. They're currently constructing it right now. Jason's boss is really pushing on getting it done, so we'll see how this is. I can certainly tell you this is the last time you're going to see me in this room for this stream, because I'm going to have to be relocating into another room somewhere. So fortunately, I will lose this lovely spacious room and will be in another room. Hopefully it will actually be in my new apartment and not in another hotel room. Yeah. But other than that, I certainly hope you guys enjoy what I had to say in this one. I certainly hope you guys enjoy the shows that we got to watch. A lot of great stuff going on here. I'm sorry at the very beginning I didn't realize that the music wasn't playing through the stream. We fixed it. That's how streams work. You always have to fix it on the clock, or fix it on the spot. Other than that, yeah. God, I'm just glad I'm done with my video. I really am. I'm glad that I finally finished it. The other thing is, as well, is that I really want to try to get Glove and Table Talks back up and running, because I really want to have a whole episode talking about the TikTok loving meme wars that has been taking over the entire internet in terms of the hobby. Like, holy crap. I mean, I even posted a video on Facebook in GL about like the situation going on in the Worldwide Glovers Discord. It was absolute mayhem. And it's the funny thing is it's still going. It is still happening. We are constantly still getting more and more new people into the server. It's great, but boy oh boy is it insane sometimes. Oh my god. Yeah. So thank you once again. I hope you enjoyed yourselves. I hope you guys come back next month when we'll see the final results of the entire season. We'll have a lovely chat about the season, and then we'll see who's going to be in the top 8, and we'll talk about the matches and who are our predictions from going on there. But till then, I hope you enjoy yourself, and I'll catch you all next time.